What's up, Ada Gang? Welcome into Dapp Central, your home for everything blockchain and crypto. I'm your host here for Reed. We've got a huge update here when it comes to everything Nuvola, a DePIN aggregator project here with deep roots and an early beginning within the Cardano ecosystem. And I'm going to be breaking down a couple of key features as it pertains and relates to their recent release on the pre-prod testnet for their Nuvola staking dashboard. Now, we're not just going to be talking about staking. I'm also going to briefly highlight and review their collateralization feature, as well as the recent release of lending and borrowing. So quite a bit to highlight here. But before we do any of that, if it's your first time stopping by the channel, my goal is to help you find your footing here within the Cardano and Bitcoin ecosystems. If you appreciate content like this, I would appreciate you if you could smash that thumbs up on the way in. If you want more, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to voice off down below. Now we're going to jump right on in here. I have to give credit and thanks where it is most definitely due. So shout out to the Nuvola team for bringing me on as one of their first and inaugural ambassadors. So you guys can expect more content coming here from Dapp Central, closely aligned, right, with the Nuvola team. So shout out to Raul and Syed again for this wonderful and massive opportunity. Now, before we continue any further, just a brief recap on where the project stands from a high level or from a bird's eye viewpoint. So right now, Nuvola with over 2,800 NVL token holders, and we've got roughly 14 million of their Nuvola tokens currently staked, equaling roughly about 85% of the total supply, which just really shows the strength of their community. In terms of projects, they had an early beginning in partnership with Igon, focusing on decentralized storage, followed by a partnership with OrcFax, who's an Oracle provider, and then Cornucopias, a gaming platform or a game builder here within the ecosystem, followed by World Mobile, as well as the Minutes Network, both of those two projects focusing on telecommunications. Now, having said all of that, as a part of today's video, we're breaking down, number one, what wallets and how to actually get access to wallets that you can use on the pre-prod testnet. Number two, how to get some test NVL through their Faucet, as well as some test ADA. And then number three, we're going to dive into their dashboard, breaking down how to view all the rewards that the Nuvola team has earned, as well as your own staking positions, how many tokens you've earned, as well as how you can actually view your claim history. You can use the collateralization feature, as well as lending and borrowing. And then I'm also going to briefly break down what we can expect to come next. Now, before we go any further, again, please smash that thumbs up, but I want to lay down a couple of ground rules. Keep in mind that this is all on the pre-prod testnet, meaning the test NVL has zero value, the test ADA has zero value. Now, if you are participating and you're part of the community and you want to just do some testing, the team has mentioned that this will be an incentivized testnet, but I have not been given the details about the reward scheme just yet, right? So if you want to participate, right, do so. But understand that there will be some rewards, but I don't know exactly how those are going to go out. Now, in addition, the team is constantly working to make sure that they're ready for the mainnet. So keep in mind that not everything will be perfect, but that's the point of the testnet. So if you've got any feedback, you catch any bugs, reach out to the team via Discord or X. I'll leave the link to both of those down below. But once everything is wrapped up for testing here on the pre-prod testnet, I believe we can expect, or at least look forward, right, to mainnet launch within the next 30 days. Now, that's fingers crossed that everything goes according to plan on the testnet. So now that we've got the ground rules, let's briefly talk about wallets. So the particular platform for today's video supports all of the top wallets within the Cardano ecosystem. But for me personally, I'll be using the Eternal wallet as well as the Lace wallet. Again, links to both of these wallets will be left down below. Now let's start off here with the Lace wallet first. I've already got it downloaded and installed. I'm just going to briefly open it up here at the top right-hand corner. And the first thing we want to do is head over and connect to the pre-prod testnet. So I'm going to click on this drop down here. I'm going to click on settings, and we can already see the network option here. And we can choose between the pre-prod testnet, the preview testnet, or the mainnet. So I've already selected pre-prod. And if I jump back, the next thing I'm going to do is copy my wallet address. So I'm going to click on receive here, and I'm just going to copy that wallet address. Now, I'm going to go ahead and request some tokens here in just a moment. But let's say that you're going to be using the Eternal wallet instead. So I've already downloaded Eternal. I've gone ahead and popped in a couple of seed phrases. And you're going to want to do the same exact thing. Look at the bottom left-hand corner. You're going to click on the network switcher. And then from here, you got the ability to select between the Cardano mainnet, the pre-prod testnet, the preview testnet, and a couple of other networks here as well. So I've already selected the pre-prod testnet. Now, one thing that's already done here is the fact that I've already requested some test Nuvola tokens. So we can see I've got roughly 5,200 of the TNVL tokens. Again, this has zero value because it's on the pre-prod testnet. And if I jump home or look at the top left-hand corner here, I can see I've got roughly 40 test ADA. So that's number one, right? Getting access to a wallet and connecting to the pre-prod testnet. Number two is heading over to the Nuvola Faucet and requesting test Nuvola as well as test ADA. So I've already made a transaction here, but if you pop up on this website for the very first time, you're going to want to just paste your wallet address here, just like so, and you're going to click on request tokens. Once you do so, you'll get this pop up here that says token sent successfully with a transaction hash associated with that token transaction, which should then be sending you 50 test ADA and 10,000 test Nuvola tokens. So I've already copied the transaction hash. I actually jumped over to Cardano Scan, and I'm now on the pre-prod testnet here as well. And I've pasted my transaction hash at the top there in the search bar. So if I scroll down, I can see that my testnet wallet has now received 50 ADA and roughly 10,000 of the test Nuvola tokens. So if I jump back into Lace, I can see under my history here that roughly about 15 minutes ago, I received 50 test ADA, plus, if I hover over that plus one there, 10,000 of the TNVL asset. So if I jump back into my wallet, I've got my test Cardano here. And if I scroll down a little bit, there we go. We've got roughly 10,000 of the test Nuvola tokens. So that's how you go from downloading a wallet, getting on the right network, and actually getting test NVL as well as some test ADA to begin testing. Now, if you've already requested your tokens, right, once per day, or you can only request tokens once per day. So if you try to do it again, right, before 24-hour period is passed, you will see that your request fails. And again, it breaks down the reason why and exactly how much longer you have to wait before you can request new or more tokens. So that's the intro there. And that's sort of the breakdown about how to get started. The next thing I want to jump into is how to connect to the actual staking dashboard and exactly what the actual UI or the user interface looks like. So in order to do that, we're going to head over to the official staking dashboard. Again, links will be left down below. And I'm going to click on Connect Wallet at the top right-hand side here. And we can see all of the major Cardano wallets which are in support. So again, I've already installed Eternal and Lace. For now, we're going to act as if I'm a brand new user with 0 positions when it comes to staking. And so I'm going to click on Lace. And my wallet is already connected, but if you're connecting for the very first time, it's going to ask you to connect to the Dapp, right? And you're just going to want to make sure to click to provide the Lace wallet access to connect straight to the Nuvola rewards dashboard. Now from here, we've got the main landing page, and we can see all of the rewards that the Nuvola project as a whole has currently earned. I can view that from a weekly perspective, a monthly perspective, a yearly perspective, or I can view all of the available history. On the right-hand side there, we've got all of the total amount of Nuvola staked. Again, this is on the pre-prod testnet, but on mainnet, as we just saw earlier, we've got over 85% of the total amount of NVL tokens currently staked. We've got the market cap listed here, followed by the estimated treasury earnings. And then to the left of that, we've got the total circulating supply via a number and then as a percentage. Now at the very bottom, if I get myself out the way, we've got the total Nuvola rewards breakdown. So these are all of the rewards that the Nuvola team has earned through their node operations. And we've got the total number of the native asset itself. So for example, test copy from the Cornucopias game nodes. And then we've got that valuation marked out in ADA. So again, you can see that for all of the projects that the Nuvola team runs nodes for. Again, you got a breakdown here for the duration, broken down by week, month, or year. And I believe that that's really it here for this particular page. Now, one thing I want to highlight is that you can create staking positions from any given page here on the actual dashboard. So whether you're here, whether you're viewing your rewards, etc., if you look at the top right-hand corner, this is where you have the ability to create a brand new staking position. And as we can see here, I have my 10,000 test NVL, which are visible here and connected to the dashboard. And from here, I can quickly select how much of those tokens I actually want to go ahead and actually stake. Once I'm ready, I can click on create a stake position. So for example, I'm going to click on 25% there, and I'm going to click on stake. And I'll now be prompted through Lace to go ahead and actually sign that transaction to give over or to stake or create a brand new staking position containing 2,500 of the test NVL tokens. So I'm going to confirm here, and I'm going to enter my spending password and click on continue. And just like that, my transaction has now been submitted. If I get myself out the way there at the bottom, there we go. And we'll now wait for that staking position to open up. Now, if I jump over to my NVL rewards, we can see that I have the ability to stake. And even though I just created a transaction, I'm going to have to wait roughly 24 hours until I've received rewards for my staking position to actually be visible. From here, I can view my total earnings, the total amount of NVL I have staked, and then coming soon will be an estimated staking APY calculation, as well as my estimated earnings in dollars. Right below, we've got my stakes or my staking positions. And from here, I can see my brand new staking position that I just created, right? With 2,500 of the NVL tokens. I've got a link again to the pre-prod Cardano scan to view my actual transaction ID. I can copy that very quickly. And I've also got a reference ID. And I can see that right now, it has not yet started earning rewards, but stay tuned. I've got another wallet that I'm going to connect you in just a moment to actually show us, right, what we can expect to see when we do have staking positions available and that have started accruing node rewards. At the very bottom, we've also got the actual timestamp at which the transaction was submitted in order to begin that staking process. Now, let's jump into the very last page here where we've got lending and borrowing. And I just want to again remind you guys from the community's perspective, this is brand new, but it's a highly anticipated feature. And again, this just offers the community the ability to basically take their stake positions and to leverage that in order to borrow against them, right? Receiving ADA in the short term, but putting up as collateral their staked assets. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that this is not Nuvola's or the core team's focus here in terms of an offering. It's just a mechanism, right, to allow for Nuvola stakers to still tap into some value or to tap into some ADA if they need it. However, the team isn't doing this for their own benefit. So creating a stake position and lending and borrowing against it, there's no fees going back to the Nuvola team. It's all done. Obviously, you have to pay the Cardano or just the regular blockchain fees, but the team isn't taking a particular cut. So I want to be very clear about that. Again, I'm going to jump back in here in just a moment. So we've basically at this point taken a brief look at how to borrow and lend. We've already reviewed the dashboard. We've talked about staking your NVL, etc. But this is all coming in from a brand new wallet. So what I want to do now is disconnect. So I'm going to click on the top right-hand corner here. I'm going to click on disconnect. And now we're going to connect an existing wallet that has stake positions, which is the Eternal wallet. So I'm going to click on Eternal now. And again, nothing's going to change here on this first main page because these are all of the stats and rewards for Nuvola as a whole. Now, if I jump into my NVL rewards here, this is where things get interesting. Again, I love the user interface. So I can quickly see that I've already staked with this particular wallet 4,700 NVL tokens, which has now given me a rough estimate of around $778. And I've got a breakdown here of exactly how much I've earned per project. So I've got roughly 149 of the test copy tokens, 149 of the test fact tokens, and then I've got, again, in ADA, the valuation of my total rewards earned so far. Now, this is where things get even more interesting. So we've got 3 subpages that I can sort of access from this My Rewards page. And so from here, I can, number one, claim my rewards. And so I'll break that down in just a moment. I can also view all of my claim history, depending on whether or not I've made claims before. And I can also collateralize my existing staked assets, or my existing rewards, I should say, if there's some sort of vesting period associated with them that has not yet been met. So for example, think of Iagon, where there might be a 12-month vesting period. If you don't want to wait for that 12-month vesting to finish, you can actually collateralize those tokens. And if you want, put them up on a marketplace and somebody can actually buy those collateralized tokens. And what they're not getting is your claim of your Iagon rewards. But in return, they're going to be giving you some ADA upfront for those collateralized assets. So now they're going to be charged with waiting, but they're going to receive your Iagon tokens where you're able to essentially use or leverage that collateralized asset for ADA in the short term. So again, really, really cool feature here in a brand new sort of paradigm shift when it comes to staked assets that are not yet claimable or that are undergoing some sort of vesting period. So let's actually walk through the claim process. Once we're on the claim page, I want to break down a couple of key things here that have actually changed, which are brand new features in terms of flexibility. So you have the ability to claim all of your token rewards in one single transaction, or you can actually claim them per project. But not just that, you can actually claim a portion for each project. So let's say I only want to claim 50 of the test copy, and then maybe 100 of the OrcFax, and then maybe, for example, only 20, right, of the Iagon tokens. I have the ability to do that. And once I'm ready, I can click on the claim button here at the very bottom. Or if I have an asset that's undergoing vesting and I want to take advantage of their brand new collateralization feature, I can actually click on collateralize. So again, a lot of really cool flexibility that wasn't here with their prior staking dashboard. Now, briefly jumping back out, once you've made a claim, you can view that claim via the claim history. So this will break down when and how much and what assets you claimed in times past. As you can see, so far, I've yet to actually make a claim, but had I made a claim, this is where I'd be able to come back and actually view that particular history. Jumping back, again, on the claim page, I showed how you can actually collateralize an asset. So if I click on collateralized tokens here, I can see that I've got no collateralized rewards. But if I jump back over again on the claim page, this is where you would have the ability to select an asset, for example, like Iagon, that I want to collateralize by just clicking on that. And then I can confirm that by clicking on the collateralize option. Now, there is so much to break down here. I'll probably have to do a follow-up video because, again, this is a lot of flexibility and we're roughly at the 20-minute mark already. But if you are enjoying this video, please smash that thumbs up. If you want more, consider subscribing. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to voice off down below. Now let's jump into my staking positions where we can view all of the prior staking positions that we've made. So you can make as many as you want. You don't have to come in and just do it at once. You can, stake a portion of your NVL. And as you purchase more on the open market, come back and create additional staking positions. What I love about this is the fact that you can now see how much of the test tokens each particular position has actually earned you. So not only do you get the reference IDs, etc., but you can actually see how many rewards for each particular position you've earned so far. And then you can actually tab over per stake position to see all the different partner projects which are now earning you rewards. Now, another key feature here, if I get myself out of the way, you can now unstake multiple positions at once, or you can actually do a partial withdrawal of an existing staked position. So for example, I've got 1,500 NVL tokens staked here. I can unstake that entire position, or I can partially withdraw out of that 1,500. So I can see there the available amount and exactly how much I actually want to withdraw. Again, a brand new feature when it comes to flexibility, not forcing you to unstake the entire position all at once, giving you that ability to remove just a little bit in the event that you maybe want to move that somewhere else, or maybe just, do something else with that NVL. Now, in closing, I highlighted the lending and borrowing earlier. Just for the sake of time, I'll have to jump into this as a separate video because, again, there's just so much information to break down here. But imagine a scenario where you've got a couple of staking positions that have now begun to earn you rewards. Now, you don't want to necessarily sell, right, or claim all those rewards. You want to let that continue to accrue, but you need some ADA in the short term. Well, you can now jump into this brand new lending and borrowing feature, which again, right now is still in progress, right? So keep that in mind. But you can take that staking position and you can actually use that as collateral, right, to then borrow ADA against. Very similarly, if you're looking to maybe lend, right, some ADA, you can jump onto the lending and borrowing platform, view which different positions are available for you to lend ADA against, and you can actually lend your ADA, and in exchange, you'll be receiving someone's staking position. Now, granted, if everything goes well and they pay back their loan on time, there's no issues. You then receive your ADA with a little bit of interest and you return their staking position. But if not, you're actually able to keep that staking position. If I'm not mistaken, again, I know that there's a little bit more nuance there, but I'll have a separate and a dedicated video coming soon breaking down lending and borrowing in full depth. It's just amazing, though, how much this team has done here in a very, very short term. Now, looking on the left-hand side there, in terms of coming soon, we've got the Nuvola assets under management, which will break down from a visual perspective how many assets are currently under management by Nuvola. We've got governance coming soon, and we've also got their rewards calculator, which should be coming out in a future release. I believe that that will do it. I mean, just a lot of information for us to break down, but I wanted to just make that available. Again, I'm going to have more content coming soon. I just don't want this video to go on for too long, but we've reviewed in this particular update how to, number one, get connected on the testnet Faucet, how to connect your wallet to the staking platform. We've reviewed the staking homepage. We've reviewed my positions, how to claim. We've briefly talked about the collateralization feature, as well as the highly anticipated lending and borrowing feature. Again, if you have any questions, there's a lot to do here. Jump in the Discord, connect with the team, make sure to ask any questions. If you have any bugs, any issues, the team will be happy and willing to work with you to get those resolved. But so far, from my first impression, really, really solid platform, a lot of flexibility and a lot of features that you've never seen before on other staking platforms. So I wouldn't be surprised if other projects sort of keep an eye out and now begin to follow suit. But I am in love with the collateralization feature, sort of letting somebody else take the holding period in order for you to get some ADA or some asset in exchange for that immediately. And I'm also in love with the lending and borrowing. Again, the team isn't making any fees from lending and borrowing. This is just a way to make sure that all of this can be done in-house. And so in closing, I just want to reiterate my thanks for the team, the ability to jump on and make this content. And as I mentioned earlier, expect more Nuvola content from Dapp Central in the near future. If you found this particular update to be helpful or insightful, I would appreciate you if you could smash that thumbs up. If you want more, consider subscribing. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to voice off down below. That said, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.